Hey there, nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another episode of Season 2 of Anarchy Road, our series that is dedicated to Necromunda Ashway's battle reports. And this is battle report number 7. It is a looters scenario that is fought between my friend O'Death as well as myself. My friend O'Death is bringing the Neon Knights, his synthwave-inspired House of Saar gang, and I'll be playing my gang, the Chainbreakers, my Nurgle Corrupted Slave Ogryns gang. So as you can see, the terrain has been set up. My team is trying to defend some loot caskets spread throughout the tabletop, and of course the Vansar are here to try to steal those loot caskets and achieve a victory in this one. So with that being said, we're gonna play some music real quick. As the music is playing, we'll show you photos of both gangs as well as their rosters. If you want to see exactly what we're taking for this one, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure. So with that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
So the scenario rules for this one is looters. In this one, I will be the defender while my opponent O'Death will be the attacker. And for the crews in this one, my friend O'Death gets a custom choice of 10 fighters while I get D3 plus 4 randomly chosen fighters, and the rest of my gang are set up as reinforcements. Now I decided to play 4 loot caskets anywhere on the battlefield, and each of my fighters must be deployed within 3 inches of at least one of those loot counters. At the same time, my opponent picks one side of the battlefield, that is their escape route, and they set it within 6 inches of that table edge. Now I do have home turf advantage on this one because I am defending, so that part's kind of nice. Now the objective of this battle is for the attacker to move within 1 inch of a casket and then take that casket and then move it directly back off the escape route, and they get to claim it. And of course, when it comes to reinforcements on this one, at the start of every end phase I get 1 randomly chosen fighter. On turn 2 I get 2, etc. until I run out of fighters as well. Now the battle ends if either gang has no models left on the battlefield at any round, or if the battle immediately ends, and the victory condition of this one is the attacker wins if they have claimed more loot caskets than the ones I've actually protected. Otherwise, I'm the winner on this one as well. Now for the rewards on this one, my opponent earns D3 times 10 credits, and he takes all the D3 for each of the loot caskets added together and then multiplies the event by 10, and he earns that many credits. And of course, if he first off with money that's taken from my stash, that goes directly into him, and that's pretty much how it works. Now for experience on this one, you earn 1 point of experience for participating, and the attacking leader also gets an additional experience point if they take at least 2 loot caskets. And for reputation for this one, if we're fighting for each other for the very first time, we get 1 additional point of reputation. The attacker earns plus 1 reputation for each loot casket they manages to capture. I lose 2 reputation if all loot caskets were captured by my enemy, and I earn plus 2 reputation if I actually have all 4 loot caskets still left on the battlefield. So with the scenario rules over with, let's talk about deployments real fast. Alright, so let's go and talk about my deployment real quick. So on the top of the Quantum building is one of my loot caskets, and at the same time I have Malignus covering that as well. He's a Slave Ogryns. He's got armor undersuit as well as furnace plates. He's got a Spudjacker as well as a Brute Cleaver. He's got the Loyal, Limited Learning Capacity, and Runaway Slave special rules, and he also got the Headbutt skill as well. Meanwhile, on the top of the MCI Chemical Works Tower is another one of my loot caskets. Up there I have 2 fighters as well. On the back end, that is my leader, Festimus the Bellman. He's my overboss. He's got armored undersuit, furnace plates, as well as twin arc welders. He's also got blasting charges, a bio booster, and he's also got the runaway special rule as well as the iron will skill. And then right in front of him as well as one of my Lobo slaves named the Festering Jawbreaker. He's got armored undersuit as well as a hazard suit. He's got a 2-handed hammer as well as a stainless steel stash. He's got the lobotomized, limited learning capacity, slow redded, and runaway special rules. And located next to the well, of course, on the very top of the tower on the crow's nest, that is Fecula Flyblown. She's another one of my Slave Ogryns. She's got an armored undersuit as well as furnace plate. She's packing a Storm Welder. She also has a Spudjacker for backup weapon, as well as the Loyal, Limited Learning Capacity, and Runaway special rules. And she also has the Headbutt skill. And then right next to her is the vehicle, the Dire Song, as commanded by one of my Scum Racers. It's a custom heavy vehicle that is tracked and has extra armor as well as a ram, as well as a transport bed. It's got all-wheel steering, tire claws, nitro burners, Archaeotech automatic reactor, which basically makes the movement 7, so it's very, very quick for a heavy vehicle. It's got smoke vents, a harpoon launcher, as well as a heavy stubber. And finally, on top of the MCI Chemical Works Tower, and that is Golgok the Butcher, is one of my underbosses. He's got an armored undersuit as well as a furnace plate. He's got paired axes as well as a blasting charge. He also got the bull charge skill. And right next to him is Thrax the Reeking. He's one of my Lobo slaves. He's got an armored undersuit as well as a hazard suit. He's got paired spudjackers. He's got the lobotomized, limited learning capacity, and slow-weighted special rules. And he also has the runaway special rule on top of him as well. And that makes up my initial deployment for my chain breakers. Alright, so up next, the play for the Neon Knights. So right on the beginning of their area, they have their vehicle. That vehicle is called the Steel Dragon. The Steel Dragon's got a Scum Racer on board. It's got a custom medium vehicle with transport bed. It's got extra armor, all-wheel steering, tire claws, natural burner smoke vent, and also has a mining laser on it as well. And also in that vehicle is a couple of characters. We have Elite Stallone, who is the Prime. He's got an armored body glove, mesh armor, combo weapon that's a combination of hot shot, last pistol, and melt pistol with a focusing crystal. It's also got energy shield as well as a commanding presence trait. Also on board that vehicle is Midnight High and Archaeotech. He's got armored body glove, mesh armor, hot shot, last sub carbine with a focusing crystal, a spider rig, as well as a gadgeteer and Alpha Ocular Cyber Technica upgrade. We also have Laser Noir and Augmech. He's got a armored body glove, mesh armor, plasma gun, and last pistol as well as a munitioneer skill. And then we also have two subtechs named Strange Maverick and Raging VHS. They're both armed exactly the same way: the armored body gloves, mesh armor, last sub carbines, as well as shock stabs. And finally, make up the left-hand side of his deployment, we have 4 Neotechs named Cobra Hawkins, July High Score, Night Hopper, and Time Vault. All 4 are equipped exactly the same with armored body gloves, mess armor, last sub carbines, energy shields, photon flash grenades, grav cutters, and all 4 have the hot-headed as well as the fast learner skills. And that pretty much makes the deployment for my buddy O'Death and the Neon Knights. So deployment over with, let's go ahead and talk about battle plans and get this battle report started. Alright, so now that we're done with deployments as well as deployments, let's talk about battle plans real quick. So first of all, I have 4 loot counters spread throughout the entirety of the table, and as you can see, I have to deploy within 3 inches of every single loot counter. So here's loot counter number 1 on the top of the MCI Chemical Works, the MCI Metrochemicals Incorporated tower over here. At the same time, in the Quantum Building, I have another loot casket deployed up there with one of my fighters. My vehicle, the Dire Slung, is deployed right here next to the well, and on top of that is another loot counter provided by effect of the fly blown. And then right on top of the MCI chemical tanks over here, I have another loot counter divided by these 2 Slave Ogryns as well. And of course, down over here on the near side of the table is where my friend O'Death has deployed his gang. Now his objective, of course, is to move in, steal loot caskets, and of course try to escape off the same table edge. My job is to stop him from doing so. And pretty much my idea here is just to play defensively. I'm going to stay exactly near my loot caskets, make my opponent come to me. I don't have much in terms of range attacks, except for maybe my vehicle over here, so maybe I'll do some shooting, maybe put some pain directly onto these guys over here. But for the most part, I was planning on sticking around my loot caskets for the most part. Wait for my reinforcements to arrive, and then hopefully destroy my opponent that way. So this one, my opponent is the attacker. It's all on him to try to make the moves. I'm just going to basically try to play defensively the entire time. So with the my battle plan over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and my friend O'Death and I will roll for initiative to see which of us has priority. We'll be right back after this. Alright, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 1, and my friend O'Death managed to get the initiative on this one. This one's after several activations, so let's go ahead and talk what happened. So first of all, my friend O'Death activates Elite Stallone, who's his leader, who does a group activation with the vehicle, the Steel Dragon. The Steel Dragon moves up with normal movement allowance and tries to open fire with its mining laser directly into Golgok the Butcher, which is my underboss. And unfortunately for my opponent, though, he missed his shot. And to add insult to injury, he also gets an ammo check on that as well, so he'll have to spend a basic action in order to reload his weapon. And then from there, Elite Stallone also does a simple movement to get out of the vehicle, and another simple movement to move it directly to this pipe, moving his maximum movement allowance from there. Now, of course, I do decide to return fire with Golgok the Butcher. I do open fire with my blasting charges, but unfortunately, for some reason, I thought blasting charges were strength times 3 range. It's actually strength times 2, so because I miss my shot quite spectacularly, land just absolutely short of actually hitting anything. So because that, nothing much really happens from there. Now, of course, after that, for the next activation, my friend then decides to activate one of his Neotechs. That guy's name is Cobra Hawkins. Cobra Hawkins does a double move to go directly to the top of this wall. We'll talk about exactly what happened to him and how he actually got hit here in a little bit. Now, from there, of course, I then activate my vehicle, the Dire Slung. The Dire Slung opens fire with its heavy stubber. Manage to hit these 2 guys over here, which are July High School, as well as Night Hopper. Managed to hit both those guys as well as pin them, and I also fired my harpoon launcher directly into Time Vault. Managed to put a serious injury on him with that, and at the same time drag him 3 inches directly towards the Dire Slung as well, so that part was pretty cool. Now from there, of course, we go back to my friend O'Death. O'Death then activates his Augmech. Laser Noir also activates one of his subtechs named Strange Maverick. Strange Maverick and him actually move directly towards the foxhole, with Strange Maverick taking point, and directly to the foxhole. And then from there, I then activate my leader, Festimus the Bellman, who moves up and then throws a blasting charge directly at the very first of these Neotechs, Cobra Hawkins. Now, originally my shot missed, and it bounced over to the right 1 inch, so because he still got caught in the blast radius, it didn't wound him, but it did pin him. It also knocked him off the top of this, so he goes hovering to the ground. He's perfectly fine. And that pretty much makes up the turn so far on this one. So with that being said, we're going to direct to our turn 1 activations. All right, so now they're back for the rest of turn number 1 for the action phase. So the next thing that ends up happening, of course, is I activate Fecula Flyblown. She's my Slave Ogryns who's armed with a Storm Wielder. I take a basic action aim to get +1 to shoot, and I open fire directly into this little guy over here. His name is Strange Maverick, and it also goes directly into Midnight High, which is the Archaeotech behind him. Open fire with my blast. Managed to get 6 shots off of that bad boy, so that thing was amazing. Managed to put this poor guy out of action, of course, so Strange Maverick is out cold, so he will go into recovery. He will skip recovery, make a full recovery, no problem, but that's one less fighter that my friend O'Death has in the fray. At the same time, managed to eat up both wounds on the Archaeotech Midnight High, but it only ended up being a flesh wound, so he's perfectly fine. He can still fight, he can still do stuff. He's only just 1 toughness less is all that was. But the funniest part, though, was that Elite Stallone, his leader, failed his cool check watching a subtech getting atomized by a Storm Welder, so he flees back 4 inches as well, and he's lost his nerve. So that part was pretty epic as well. Now for the rest of the turn, it's pretty straightforward. My friend decided to do double actions to stand up both of his Neotechs that got shot down earlier, which are July High Score, as well as Nighthopper. So both those guys, Cobra Hawkins and July High Score. There we go. Those guys get back on their feet again, so they're perfectly fine. And then for the rest of the turn, I just do double movements with my two Lobo slaves. I move up Festering Jawbreaker as well as Thrax the Reeking, which is this guy down over here. And they just do double moves to get down lower. And that pretty much makes up the action phase for this one. So the action phase over with, we go directly to the end phase. Alright, so that takes directly to the end phase of turn number 1. So let's talk about exactly what ended up happening. So first of all, Elite Stallone does manage to get his nerve back, so because of that he is no longer broken, at the same time earns himself a bonus point of experience. At the same time, Time Vault, which the Neotech got shot earlier with a harpoon launcher, is still seriously injured, so he's still on the ground, still bleeding out. And then finally, I was able to get a reinforcement with Sepsimus the Plaguesworn. But unfortunately, though, I filmed my roll to see where I get to deploy him, so my opponent got to deploy him instead, so because of O'Death, put him all the way back here in the far corner, all the way out of the action as well. And that pretty much makes up turn number 1 for this one. So with turn number 1 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 2, and both O'Death and I roll for initiative to see which of us has priority. Alright, so now we're back at the top of turn number 2, and I get to go first on this one, and the first thing I do is I activate the Dire Song. And with the Dire Song, I do a double action to charge forward and do a ram. So I take the Dire Song, I roll 10 inches, and I go directly out of the right from under the bridge, right forward, and smash directly into all 3 of these fighters. Unfortunately for my buddy, though, he did fail his initiative check, so because of that, these guys go all out of action. So let's talk about exactly what ended up happening. Hit these guys with Strength 9, 3 damage. Actually, Strength 10, 3 damage, because I also have a ram on this vehicle as well. So let's talk what ended up happening first. So first of all, this guy over here, his name is Time Vault. Time Vault gets an out cold results because he'll make a full recovery, but he's currently out of action. After that, we go directly to this guy as well. That guy's name is Nighthopper. Nighthopper also, sorry, not Nighthopper. His name is July High Score. There we go. July High Score goes into action. The reason why is because he took 3 flesh wounds would end up happening. So it ended up eating up all 3 of his toughness, which means he goes out of action. He suffers a grievous injury, so he will miss out on his next battle report as he is put into recovery. And the next guy, of course, this guy's name is Nighthopper. Nighthopper gets an out of action result as well, and at the same time, he also gets the lesson learned injury, so he will go into recovery, but he'll earn 2 bonus experience points at exactly the same time, so that part is kind of cool. Meanwhile, the Dire Song, of course, after smashing all 3 of these guys, earns himself 3 experience points. And that makes it my first turn activation for this one. So that being said, we go directly to the activations for turn 2. Alright, so let's go and talk about the rest of the activations real quick. So first of all, after that horrific destruction that took place over there, what ended up happening, of course, is that my friend decided to activate his champion next. That champion's name is Laser Noir's Augmech. At the same time, there's a group activation with his Aging VHS, which is his Subtech. Now, Subtech actually moves up 5 inches forward and actually opens fire directly into Festering Jawbreaker. I'm sorry, not Festering Jawbreaker. Thrax the Reeking, which is actually one of my Lobo slaves. Unfortunately for him, though, he misses his shot, so not much happened there. But what happened over here, though, is that my opponent opened fire with his plasma gun, does manage to hit me, but fails to wound Golgok the Butcher, my underboss. But when it happens, I fail my initiative. So Golgok the underboss goes falling to the ground and takes a wound as well, so he is currently pinned at the same time. Now from there, of course, we then go directly to my next activation, activate Festering Jawbreaker. Oh, sorry, Thrax Reeking, there we go. Thrax Reeking does charge 4 directly into Raging VHS. Now, he's got paired Spudjackers, so he doubles his attacks. He gets another one to charge, that gives him 5 attacks total. Of those 5 attacks, 4 manage up hitting Raging VHS, knocks him back 4 inches as well, puts him out of action with alcohol results because he will no longer participate in this battle report, but at the same time, though, he also will make a full recovery, no problem. Now from there, of course, my friend then activates Elise Stallone, his leader, who does a group activation with this, with, I believe that guy's name is Cobra Hawkins, that Neotech. The Neotech does actually get back on his feet again, and Elite Stallone opens fire with his Melta pistol directly into Festering Jawbreaker. Managed to hit him and wound him and just morally makes him out of action. I also failed my initiative check too, to also fall to the ground and crash like a meteor, but that didn't really do much of anything. What really did it, though, was the Melta gun. Melta gun put a grievous injury directly on the Festering Jawbreaker, so because of that, he will no longer participate in this battle report, and he does go to recovery as well. And because of that, and after looking at the amount of damage that my friend just took on this one, my friend O'Death decides to call on this one just because he doesn't want to take any much more damage than he already has. So that nets a victory for yours truly with my army, the Chainbreakers of the Nurgle Corrupted Slave Ogryns. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go directly to the post-game because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, so let's talk about the post-game. This is part of the battle report. Talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we plan for the next time that we do battle. This is the after-action report for Anarchy Road Season 2, battle report number 7. And starting off with my friend O'Death and the Neon Knights, he suffered quite a bit of injuries on this one. 3 of his fighters, Strange Maverick, Raging VHS, his 2 subtechs, as well as 1 of his Neo-techs, Time Vault. All 3 of those guys suffered out cold results, so they made full recoveries, no problem. July High Score, 1 of his Neo-techs, however, suffers a grievous injury, so he goes into recovery. And Night Hopper, which is another one of his Neo-techs, he actually got the Lessons Learned injury, so he goes into recovery, but he also earns 2 experience bonus points as well. Now, advancements. No member of this gang actually advanced at this time, and from his territory, from the Clearway territory, he actually got plus 12 credits from that road section, and he lost the Two-Boy territory to my gang, the Chainbreakers. And I'll talk about exactly why I took that territory away from him in a second. Now, for the training post, he's able to score 12 credits that he put all directly into his stash. For reputation, earn 1 point of reputation fighting against the Chainbreakers for the first time, as well as 1 additional reputation point from his territories, giving a grand total of 5 reputation total. His new record now is at 0 wins and 2 losses, and his new gang right now is still at 2,400 points. So let's talk about my gang, the Chainbreakers. For my injuries, Festering Jawbreaker, my Lobo slave, suffered a grievous injury, so because of that, he will go into recovery, so he will miss out on his next battle report. Now, because I am a Nurgle Corrupted gang, I do have to do the Dark Ritual, so because I rolled from my roster to see which of my fighters will be used as the vassal for the Dark Ritual, ended up being the Scum Racer, the Dire Song, so because that, he goes through it, and he actually earned us the Maintains the Blessing of Nurgle, and which is pretty easy to understand. I got additional reputation, I won this one as well. I already had Nurgle's favor at the beginning of the campaign, so it was pretty easy for me to maintain that ritual, which allows me to, once per end phase, reroll 1 recovery die. At the same time, Dire Song also earns 6 experience points as well. Now for advancements, Festivus the Bellman leveled to level 2, earning +1 to his Ballista skill, so now he's Ballista skill 4, so Ballista skill 5, and also increased his value by 20 credits. And the Dire Song also leveled to level 2, choosing the Heavy Foot driving skill, and also increased his credit value by 20 points in value as well. Now for my territories, from the Freedom Passage, I earned 5 credits from that. From the Deeps, I got 7 credits from that road section. Croc Pass, also got another 1 credit from that one. That one was pretty sad. Now, from the Crater Run trade route, which I was able to, which I have maintained currently right now, I earned 120 credits from that. And from the Two-Way, which I captured from the Neon Knights, I earned 10 credits from that territory. Now, the reason why I took the Two-Way away from the Two-Way one from my opponent was because it's actually one of 2 trade routes. Road section, we need to actually do the Scrapway. The Scrapway connects the dive to Cinderac City, and if you manage to capture that territory, for me anyways, it's 3d6 times 10 credits. so all I gotta do is win my next game and secure the Outcast passage. That is assuming, of course, that one of my opponents doesn't claim it ahead of time in order to stop me from getting 2 trade routes, so I do have to worry about that as well. So that's one of the reasons why I took that territory away from my opponent. Now for my reputation, for my trading post, I got 153 carrots for my territories, which I placed directly into my stash, just because I want to keep that for a rainy day in case something happens to one of my vehicles. For my reputation, or 1 point reputation for fighting against the Neon Knights for the very first time, as well as 1 point for my territories. I earned 2 points reputation from the scenario for protecting all 4 of my loot caskets, increasing my growing total to 8 points reputation total. My new record now is at 2 wins and 0 losses, and my new gang right now is still at 2,635 points. So there you guys have it. That's good to do for this one for Battle Report number 7. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay classy.